So this is Girish Deshpande, and I am giving you a lecture on a topic, Introduction to Computer. So students, this particular topic is very important and vast topic in current world. So for getting the knowledge of this particular topic, we will move to our first slide, that is objective slide. In this objective slide, I have kept two objectives. The first objective is what is computer system. Okay. So knowing what is computer is an important factor to gain the knowledge of computer system. And the second objective is the area of applications where computers are used. Normally this topic is beneficial to increase our interest when we know what are the application areas of computer systems. Okay. By knowing the vast fields of computer system, we can get or generate or increase our interest to learn computer system in those specific areas. So let's move to our next slide. The next slide is of objective 1, in which we are trying to explain the traditional methods. In traditional methods, what happens previous to computer systems or before computer systems was introduced to common people, the pens and papers was normally used to record the information. So imagine if I want to write hundreds of or thousands of names and I don't have a computer system or typewriter machine, so I am having only a paper and pen. So what time it will take to record those 1000 names. So, and not only time, when we write those 1000 names on a paper and such thousands of papers are created, now there is a problem how to keep those papers. So in traditional methods, we were using pens and papers to writing or recording information and racks to record those papers or to keep those papers in different compartments. So these are the diagrams where will explain you the things what I am telling to you. So move to the next slide. Okay. There are certain disadvantages of these traditional methods. Now see, if I want to record a certain information, like I previously said to you, thousands of names and addresses or everything I want to write on a paper, it is a time consuming process and it is a tedious process. Okay. And again, if we want to retrieve the information from thousands of papers, okay, it is again a time consuming and tedious process. So let's take an example. See, here is an image in which there are thousands of files present on the rack or in the rack. Okay. Now I want to find the information of a person Pramod. Okay. Now how I will get the information of Pramod among all these files? Okay. So it is a time consuming process. Again, the paper has its own limitations. Okay. We cannot keep all the data for a long time of period on paper. So there is always fear of loss of data. And the large space is also required to keep those files, keep those papers in neat and clean for retrieving information for long period. It also involves the waste of large man hours, and the large numbers of resources are also required to do this. So these are some disadvantages of traditional methods. Now move to the next slide. There is a responsive question of objective 1 where you can see that, do you think we still use such a system which make our working so difficult? So answer is quite normal. It is always a no. Now the second question is there. Let's think a next question who will make our working area more interactive or joyful. So the answer is always and always computers. So let's move to the next slide. It is the slide of modern methods to handle data, in which instead of paper there is a screen given to you on which I have written something, and instead of pen writing on the paper, I have a device which will record my information on the screen. Okay. So this particular screen is usually known as output device, and this particular pen is usually known as input device. And whatever the data we can see on this paper or on this screen will be stored in somewhere in this particular computer systems. So it is a combination of output, storage and input devices. And all these devices are made up of electronic components. So the little processing power is always attached with this input device, this particular input device, this output device, and the storage will construct a computer system. So usually such a combination is usually known as computer system. Now the advantages of these particular modern methods. Now recording of information becomes easy and fast, and retrieving information from the several set of information is a few clicks away. It means the speed of processing and the input, output and storage device will give me desired information in front of me within few minutes. There is less fear of loss of data, and the large space even we don't require to store information. The utilization of man hours is also very good. It means a man can do work of 10 humans or 10 men. And large number of resources are normally or properly utilized. So these are some advantages of modern methods, or in other words we can say that these are the advantages of use of computer systems. Now let's move to the next slide, in which there is a responsive question. The first question is, how can you define computer system? So up to this extent we can easily define computer system as it is an electronic device used for storing and processing data or information. And the next responsive question is, what are the application areas of these computer systems, or do you know at where these computer systems are used? Obviously the answer is no, and this answer will be answered, or this question will be answered in the next session. So let's move to the next session or next slide. The next slide is about objective 2, where the objective 2 is application areas of computers. So there are several application areas of computers: individual, education, office, social, government, health and medical, research, space and many more. So let's move to the next slide, in which we cannot actually explain all the application areas, but few of them we will try to explain. The first application area is individual. So let's think what a single person can do. A single person can do various and tremendous tasks on the computer system, like reading books, like calculating, like taking notes, like performing research works and many more. So a person can individually work on computer system for performing tasks like reading, watching, calculating and many more. Let's move to the second part, that is education. So in education, let's have a question first. Let's imagine a teacher is teaching in heavily crowded classroom using traditional methods. So how he looks like? Okay, it looks like this. Now let's move to the reaction of student. What will be the reaction of students sitting on the last bench? so it will look like this. Okay, he will not get anything. So still we want to use such traditional methods in which there is no interactive or joyful methods used for learning and teaching. So answer is obviously no. Now, what is the answer for such traditional methods? Obviously, the answer is computers or use of computers. So, in this image, we can see that few students are sitting in front of computer system and a teacher is explaining them what actually the computer system is performing in their respective subjects, or the students are getting more knowledge in elaborative manner by use of computers. Okay, let's move to the next slide. The application area of computers in education have certain advantages like students become more interested towards understanding of concept. So they will get the concept very handy and very interactive and very simple fashion. Next, apart from syllabus contents, they are also interested to get knowledge. So apart from syllabus contents, they are also interested to get more knowledge which is beneficial to them, and also their level of concentration towards the concept is also increased by such interactive sessions. So what we have in the next slide is all the application areas we cannot cover in this lecture, but in next lecture we will try to cover some other areas, and we will start the peripherals of computer system and with the computer architecture. And the conclusion of this lecture is, in objective 1 we came to know that what is computer system and what it can do. In objective 2 we came to know that what are the application areas of computer system. So thank you very much for listening.